Hello and welcome to this edition of the Potomac Local Podcast. I'm your host, Uriah Kaiser, publisher and president of Potomac Local News. Joining us on the podcast today is Kelly Hannon. She's with the Virginia Department of Transportation in the Fredericksburg District. Kelly, thanks for coming on the podcast with us today.
Thanks for having me here.
So what we're going to talk about, a lot of people want to know about the project, the Fred X project, the Fredericksburg Express Lanes, and especially not so much the Express Lanes project, because there's actually two projects underway right now on 95. One of them is an Express Lane extension from Garrisonville down to about Route 17. And there's the second project from Route 17 down across the Rappahannock River into the city of Fredericksburg. And that's the one we want to focus on right now. And so if you could give us an overview of what's happening basically from the Route 17, 95, Interstate 95 interchange across the Rappahannock River further south.
Absolutely. We do have two major projects going on I-95 in the Fredericksburg area, and they are neighbors, kind of right down there at that Route 17 interchange. So the I-95 southbound Rappahannock River Crossing project, that's the one that has all the construction people have seen at the river. That project is basically doubling capacity southbound from the 17 interchange area just south of Route 3 by building 3 new lanes in the median. So the idea for people who may have traveled up near the Woodrow Wilson Bridge area in Northern Virginia, really we just want to separate out people who are passing through the Fredericksburg region, through traffic, letting them use those new lanes in the median, and then keeping the existing lanes really for local traffic. People who are living in the Fredericksburg region who are going back and forth across the river for work or school, just running errands, just really giving more space where everyone's really merging there in together where Route 17 meets I-95.
So southbound, you're going to have new lanes in the center of the roadway, kind of like the express lanes. But these lanes, will they be tolled lanes like the express lanes, or will they be different?
The lanes from 17 south will be untolled. Those will be open to all traffic. So they will be available to anyone who is coming down 95 in that area. They can make the choice to enter those median lanes. If you're not stopping at the rest area, not stopping at Route 3, you can just continue on. And then near the Harrison Road overpass area, you'll merge back in with the main lanes of I-95.
And that's further south in Spotsylvania County.
Yes, exactly. So construction, we probably have, I think 7 or 8 cranes out on the interstate right now for people who have been out traveling. I know many people haven't, but we have a lot of activity underway in that area. And so for the Southbound River Crossing project, our big focus right now is finishing the new overpass of 17, actually on the northbound side. That traffic was switched last fall. People might have remembered we had a really big work zone. We took everybody over one weekend, kind of move all those northbound lanes onto this new bridge so we could replace the northbound bridge of 17. So that's almost done. We're hoping to move everyone back in the summer, probably in the July timeframe. And that will allow us, once the northbound bridge is open, that will allow us to move southbound traffic onto the southbound bridge we've built in the median, and let us make some changes and replace that existing southbound bridge, which is structurally deficient. People who have driven over it have probably noticed we've had some patches and some repairs over the years. So we're going to be raising the height of that bridge to prevent it from getting hit by truck traffic and oversized vehicles traveling on 17. So you're going to see us move, there'll be kind of a sequence and flurry of work in this summer where we're going to be moving northbound traffic back over in July, moving southbound traffic onto the southbound new bridge in September, and making some changes at the Route 17 exit ramp in August to allow us to make that change.
So those of us who are familiar with that that interchange, the bridges that carry both I-95 north and south have a very low clearance, right? And there's a truck advisory there. I know that, I've been in the area when large overheight trucks are approaching the bridge. There's a sound warning that blares at these large trucks, telling them, "Hey, don't go under this bridge. Use a different route." The new southbound bridge, you said, will be raised. Will that eliminate the height restriction on the southbound side, What about the northbound side?
Both of the bridges are being raised in height. That's the goal for both bridges, in addition to just replacing some capacity that needed to have improved condition. By raising them up, we hopefully will, significantly reduce the number of strikes you have from trucks passing underneath, which would, again, just protect them from more damage that can cause.
So the new bridges will be of standard height, I guess. The trucks will be freely able to pass underneath them as they would other bridges in the area?
Yes.
Gotcha. And so the center lanes, as part of the Rappahannock River Crossing project, you said they're not tolled, therefore you won't need an easy pass to use them, right?
Yep.
And so if I'm on, and they'll only be pointed in one direction, or will they switch directions like the easy pass lanes do, where easy pass lanes go north in the morning and then south in the evening? Will these lanes that cross the Rappahannock River in the center of the highway, will they switch directions?
They won't. They will be southbound all the time. What we're doing is we're building this project currently that's going to build 3 lanes in the median going south. We have a companion project, or it is a separate project, but it's really trying to achieve the same thing by adding some northbound lanes between the Route 3 interchange up to 17, and those lanes will operate in the northbound direction 24 hours a day as well.
So you have, so if I'm on south, if I'm heading south, going to Richmond, going all the way to Miami, Florida, and I'm not getting off on Route 3 for any reason, then I want to get into these center lanes and use the new lanes to go south and avoid that Route 3 or Route 17 traffic that sort of are mingling and merging. And if I get into these new lanes, I don't have to worry about that.
That's the idea, is really just to provide just some help here in the Fredericksburg area. We have about 150,000 vehicles a day traveling just between 3 and 17. I'm sure there are many people who live in Spotsylvania who may work in Stafford, people who live in Stafford who are trying to get to work down in Spotsylvania and vice versa. So we just wanted to provide more lanes just to move everyone through that very busy area over the river. So we'll have the southbound lanes opening to traffic by May of 2022. And the northbound lanes are expected, that project is in procurement right now, but construction will start later this year. And then the northbound lanes will open in 2024.
I think one of the most impressive facets of this project is the effort to build a new bridge over the Rappahannock, right? You for years, and I don't know how old this bridge is, but it has spans going north and a span going south, but this is a new center span that'll carry these new center lanes. And I guess from an aerial perspective, I mean, this is a pretty tall bridge when you look at the height from the river bottom to where the highway is. Can you talk about the scope of that project and maybe some of the interesting things that you've seen so far with the construction of the new bridge, maybe some of the challenges?
They are about 90 feet high, so they are quite high. So really, we did have, our contractor spent a lot of time at the beginning of the project improving the access road, kind of leading from Fall Hill Avenue, Wicklow down, all the way down to the river where they could stage their equipment. They had to build kind of a big causeway, kind of an area that stretches out from the riverbank out, so they could bring equipment out to build the bridge. So I'm sure certainly people who've been driving past on the interstate, you've slowly seen kind of those the piers start to come up from the river. So it really has been a marvel to watch. It requires a lot of coordination. But they are making steady progress on the new southbound bridge, and then certainly the northbound bridge will have another companion span that will go right kind of inside as well, that existing northbound bridge. So you'll have, when both projects are done, you'll have 4 separate spans all the way across right in that area.
And drivers won't really know the difference, right? The new bridge will look like the existing bridges, or will it have any sort of different design to it?
It'll really have a very similar design. It really won't, because they are kind of very much right in line with one another. It'll be very similar to what exists today.
This project, the River Crossing project, coupled with the Fredericksburg, the FredX project, the extension of the express lanes, you had mentioned that these are very big projects. I mean, can you tell us the cost-wise? What's the investment here in the infrastructure network when we look at costs of these projects?
The Southbound project is about $132 million, and the FredEx project, which is kind of our short name for the full project, which is 95 express lanes, Fredericksburg extension, that is a $565 million project. And that is the express lanes project is being funded by Transurban as private investment. And then if you look at the Northbound River Crossing project, that is a $132 million project as well.
So,
to approach almost $1 billion if you look at the corridor, the I-95 corridor as a whole. If you count the project we're wrapping up now at exit 140 in Stafford.
that's a lot of money, right? $1 billion to put into transportation infrastructure for the Fredericksburg region. Before I ask you about what all that means for the region, I just want to get clarification that the extension, the Fredericksburg extension, the Easy Pass lanes, those will run north in the morning, south in the evening, part of a seamless connection to the lanes that exist at Garrisonville Road and then further north into 395 and then into Arlington. Is that correct?
Yes, that is one main distinction between kind of the work VDOT is leading down at the river and then what Express Lanes is currently building. Their project will be, it's 10-mile extension of the Express Lanes. They're going to bring it just another 10 miles down from where they end today in North Stafford, all the way down just before Route 17. Those lanes will be tolled. They'll be high occupancy toll lanes. So vehicles with 3 occupants or more can always travel in the lanes for free, but vehicles with 1 or 2 occupants will pay a variable toll.
And you will need an Easy Pass to use those lanes, just as the rest of the Easy Pass network around the region?
Yes, it is entirely controlled by electronic tolling. So you can use an Easy Pass device. And now Express Lanes has also introduced GoToll, which is a mobile app that can be used as well.
Taking it back to $1 billion, that's nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, that's clearly it's a big number, but it's a big investment into the Fredericksburg region. Can you articulate what that really means for the region and possibly the signal of growth it is for this region to see so much money being spent to unlock this congestion, which anyone who sits on 95 on a regular, weekday, when we're not being impacted by the coronavirus, when things are back to normal, if you will, traffic's awful. But this is a lot of money to unlock some of this.
I think our leadership at VDOT and within the state often talk about, our mission at VDOT really isn't as much transportation as in building a better life business. That's really our goal. It's just making I think travel more predictable. We know that people really in this region build their life around traffic, I think in a way that is sometimes hard to describe for people who are living in other parts of the country. We live here too, and I think everyone is really focused on making sure that these projects are part of our legacy, and that when we finish them, when they open to traffic, people really notice a dramatic improvement in their daily trip, their life, and just the ability to live here in the Fredericksburg area. I think a lot of the things that draw people to living in the Fredericksburg area, the things that we love about it, it does make it a popular area, and so I think it's a recognition of our unique position halfway between Richmond and Washington, to those job markets, as well as the job market right here in Fredericksburg and the businesses that are here. And so you have kind of both really robust local traffic, and then you also have, all the traffic that's, traveling through the region. And I think we benefit certainly from both, but I think these projects seek to keep people moving in both of those audiences. But certainly, I've spent the majority of my life living here in the Fredericksburg region. I-95, I feel like, is the spine, it's that one thread, the one thing that unites everyone who lives in this region. I think no matter who you are, everyone can have a conversation about I-95. And, I feel really honored, to be part of these projects and to see these happen in my lifetime. And
yeah, they really are. You're absolutely right. They really are legacy projects. And I was fortunate enough, and what seems now a different life, to work on the VDOT communications team for not the Fredericksburg. It was the Capitol Beltway, Easy Pass, the 495 Easy Pass Express Lanes project. And you're right. Projects like these are legacy projects. They come around once in a lifetime, and it is so cool to see these types of improvements being made right here at home. When we talk about opening completion timeline, what are we looking at?
Well, the southbound Rappahannock River Crossing lanes, the ones that are going to go from 17 to 3, essentially, those are going to open by May 2022. We are on track, on schedule for that date. And then shortly afterward, in late 2022, the express lanes extension that's traveling those 2 reversible lanes in the median that will be tolled from North Stafford down to 17, they will open in late 2022. So the new lanes kind of in the river crossing, those will be open to receive any of that express lanes traffic that might be coming down from the south. And they really will all interface. You'll have the option, if you're coming to the end of express lanes, you'll have the choice. Do you want to re-enter the general purpose lanes, for local traffic? Do you want to get off at 17, or do you want to remain in the median and enter those new through lanes going south?
Yeah. And one final question, can you just tell us about how in the wake of the coronavirus spread, how the crews, they're clearly still working, right? Anyone who's out there driving will see the work continuing. So construction hasn't stopped, but how have crews taken to social distancing and sort of changing sort of business as normal as we work to stop the spread of the virus?
Right. We have seen traffic volumes down about 40 to 60% statewide. So, work is continuing. We have allowed contractors in some on a case-by-case basis. We've allowed them a little bit extra flexibility to have some additional time to accomplish their tasks. But certainly we are following social distancing practices. Within our area headquarters, we have been allowing some flexibility in terms of their scheduling, just to allow them to stagger that work a little bit more. So I think we are just we're following the guidelines, I think, as everyone else who is considered an essential worker, and making sure these projects do remain on schedule.
And so far they are on schedule. Nothing's been pushed back because of the virus. Everything is still full speed ahead. Is that correct?
Yes, all of our projects currently remain on schedule.
Kelly Hannon is with VDOT in the Fredericksburg district. Kelly, thanks so much for coming on the Potomac Local Podcast today.
Thanks, Soraya. I appreciate it. Pleasure to be here.
We'll see you next time.
All right, take